Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Tommy Robinson came from the streets. It's like, don't mess with him. And he's super smart.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid. So, like, he's an intimidating character.
Yeah. I mean, the very first question I asked him is, are you racist? That's a strange question to ask someone.
That's for sure.
And I sort of knew he wasn't, but I wanted to hear him say it.
Yeah.
And I got to know him a little bit. And so when that was at Sun News Network, when Rebel News started.
He's not racist like your typical, intelligent working class guy is, which means he'll be friends with.
Tommy Robinson's legal team has recently issued a critical warning ahead of his upcoming appeal, which has cast a dark shadow over the British justice system. This warning highlights not just the individual case of Robinson, but also raises disturbing questions about how the legal system is being manipulated for political purposes. With the appeal set for this Friday, his team has made public some chilling developments that go far beyond the usual legal proceedings. The most alarming revelation concerns the argument being presented during the appeal. The suggestion that Robinson should have been kept in solitary confinement for an additional period of time. This request, despite the fact that Robinson's offense was civil, not criminal, is a clear indication of how the government may be using excessive measures to suppress political dissent. According to Robinson's legal representatives, the actions taken against him are not merely about punishing a man for breaking the law, but about sending a broader message to those who challenge the political establishment. They believe that his treatment is politically motivated, designed to silence those who speak out against the government's agenda. What is even more troubling is the revelation that, had Robinson been treated as a criminal under current legal guidelines, he would have likely been released months ago. Instead, the government's decision to process his case through the civil route has kept him behind bars for a far longer period, under harsher conditions. This manipulation of the legal process not only raises serious concerns about his treatment, but also about the length to which authorities will go to silence voices of opposition. Robinson's case is no longer just about an individual fight for freedom, but has become a test of whether the British legal system can uphold the principles of fairness, justice, and equal treatment. His legal team warns that the implications of this case extend far beyond Robinson himself. The question now is whether the legal system will remain impartial or be further weaponized against those who dare to challenge the political status quo. With mounting evidence of systemic manipulation, the coming appeal is set to be a critical moment in not only Robinson's fate, but in the broader conversation about the rights of individuals in a democracy and the limits of government power. As the situation surrounding Tommy Robinson continues to unfold, it's becoming increasingly clear that the stakes are much higher than just his personal case. The latest developments in his legal battle have raised serious concerns not only about his treatment, but also about the integrity of the British justice system as a whole. The way this case has been handled, specifically the use of solitary confinement and the civil route to detain Robinson, has sparked widespread debate over the government's ability to manipulate the system for political gain. Robinson's legal team has made it clear that they view the actions against him as part of a larger, more calculated political strategy to silence dissenting voices. The appeal hearing this Friday could be a pivotal moment not just for Robinson but for the future of free speech in the UK. The government's approach to Robinson's imprisonment and treatment has left many questioning the fairness of the legal process, especially when it appears that his detention has been prolonged not for the sake of justice, but to serve a political agenda. Critics argue that by denying Robinson his right to fair treatment, the government is sending a dangerous message about the limits of freedom of speech and the extent to which individuals can be silenced for their beliefs. Robinson's case is not isolated, but rather part of a broader pattern of political persecution that has been intensifying in recent years. Many supporters and legal experts believe that the government is using Robinson as an example, hoping to intimidate others who might consider challenging the establishment. His legal team has warned that the real danger lies in the way his case could set a precedent for how dissenting voices are treated by the authorities in the future. The government's decision to process Robinson's case through the civil route, rather than treating it as a criminal case, is seen as a deliberate attempt to avoid the usual legal constraints and oversight that come with criminal trials. This route has allowed the authorities to hold Robinson in solitary confinement for a much longer period than he would have faced had he been processed as a criminal, and it has raised serious questions about whether his treatment is aligned with the principles of justice and fairness. The public's growing dissatisfaction with the handling of Robinson's case has brought attention to the broader issue of political freedom in the UK. For many, the question is not just about Robinson's treatment, but about the implications for anyone who challenges the government's narrative. The fact that Robinson has been subjected to such extreme measures for expressing his views signals a worrying trend towards authoritarianism, where freedom of speech is increasingly under threat. With his appeal hearing just around the corner, all eyes are now on the UK justice system and how it will respond to these concerns. Will the courts uphold the principles of fairness, or will they continue to be manipulated to serve a political agenda? The outcome of Robinson's case could have far-reaching consequences, not only for him but for the future of free expression in the UK. His legal team has emphasized that this case is about much more than just one man's struggle for justice. It is about the very foundation of democracy and the protection of individual rights. As the appeal approaches, the pressure on the courts to make a fair and just ruling has never been greater. As Tommy Robinson's legal battle continues to unfold, the mounting pressure and implications for free speech in the UK become increasingly undeniable. His case is not merely about one individual's struggle for justice, but rather a test of how the British justice system will address the growing concerns over political freedom and the treatment of dissenting voices. The treatment of Robinson by the authorities, particularly in terms of his prolonged solitary confinement and the decision to process his case through a civil route rather than criminal, has ignited fierce debates regarding the fairness of the legal system and its capacity for political manipulation. For many, Robinson's case is indicative of a broader, more alarming trend in which the government appears to be using the justice system to silence those who challenge the status quo. By prolonging Robinson's detention under harsh conditions, many argue that the authorities are making an example of him, sending a chilling message to others who might speak out or hold unpopular views. This tactic raises deep concerns about the future of free speech in the UK, with many fearing that this case could set a dangerous precedent for the treatment of political dissidents in the future. Robinson's legal team has been vocal about their belief that the charges against him are politically motivated. They argue that by using a civil case to extend his imprisonment under these severe conditions, the government is deliberately avoiding the normal checks and balances that would be present in a criminal trial. The decision to keep him in solitary confinement for an extended period of time, despite his classification as a Category D prisoner, further highlights the extent to which the authorities are willing to go in order to control and suppress voices they deem undesirable. This approach has raised serious questions about the transparency and accountability of the UK's justice system, with critics accusing the government of intentionally undermining the fairness of the process in order to stifle dissent. The legal and political implications of Robinson's case are wide-reaching, not just for him, but for the entire political landscape in the UK. As Robinson prepares for his appeal, the spotlight is now on how the justice system will respond to these allegations of political interference. Will the courts uphold the principles of fairness and justice, or will they allow the government's influence to dictate the outcome? The growing unrest surrounding Robinson's case has sparked protest, public outcry, and an intense media focus on how the UK treats those who challenge its political establishment. This is more than just a legal case. It is a battle for the very soul of democracy in the UK. As the appeal hearing approaches, all eyes are on the courts to determine whether the UK's justice system will stand firm in its commitment to fairness, or whether it will continue to be manipulated to serve a political agenda. The outcome of this case could have profound implications for the protection of free speech and the rights of individuals in the UK, making it a moment of critical importance for the future of the country's democracy. The growing controversy surrounding Tommy Robinson's case continues to shine a spotlight on the deeper, more troubling questions of justice, political manipulation, and the treatment of dissenters in the UK. As his appeal hearing approaches, it is becoming increasingly clear that this case is not just about one man's legal battle, but about the broader implications for the relationship between the state, its institutions, and the individuals who challenge its power. Robinson's legal team has made it clear that they see his detention and treatment as part of a larger political strategy to silence voices that challenge the established order. By keeping him in solitary confinement and using a civil case to extend his imprisonment, critics argue that the authorities are intentionally suppressing political dissent in a way that undermines the fundamental principles of justice. The idea that such severe treatment is being meted out to someone who has not been convicted of a criminal offense raises disturbing questions about how far the UK government is willing to go to stifle criticism. The continued isolation of Robinson, despite his classification as a Category D prisoner, suggests that his treatment is being driven more by political considerations than by any legitimate security concerns. This case has sparked an intense debate about the role of the state in limiting free speech. with many supporters of Robinson arguing that his case is a direct assault on the right to express unpopular opinions. The handling of Robinson's case, particularly the decision to keep him incarcerated under such harsh conditions, has led to widespread concerns about the state's growing power to control and silence individuals who speak out against its policies. The use of solitary confinement in particular has raised alarm among human rights advocates, who argue that it is a form of psychological torture designed to break the spirit of individuals who challenge the political status quo. As the legal battle intensifies, the implications for the future of free speech in the UK are becoming more pronounced. The public outcry surrounding Robinson's treatment has ignited a broader conversation about the limits of government power and the erosion of individual rights. The fact that this case has gained so much attention speaks to the growing dissatisfaction with the way the UK's justice system is being used to settle political scores, rather than ensuring fair and impartial justice. For many, Robinson's case has become a rallying cry for those who feel that the government is using the legal system as a tool for political repression. As his appeal hearing looms, the stakes have never been higher, not only for Robinson but for the future of political freedom and justice in the UK. This case has already become a defining moment in the ongoing struggle for free speech, and its outcome will undoubtedly set a powerful precedent for how dissent is treated in the years to come. The ongoing legal battle surrounding Tommy Robinson is not just a matter of individual rights, but also a reflection of deeper issues regarding the state's control over dissent and the manipulation of justice for political ends. Robinson's case has highlighted the way in which the legal system can be used as a weapon to silence voices that challenge the political status quo. The fact that Robinson, a figure known for his outspoken criticism of certain policies and societal issues, has been subjected to extreme measures, such as extended solitary confinement and being treated as a civil prisoner, raises significant concerns about the growing reach of the state's power over individuals. His legal team has consistently argued that the case against him is not about his actions, but about sending a message to others who might dare to speak out against the establishment. It's clear that Robinson's case is being used as an example, a warning shot to anyone who might be considering speaking out against the government or the broader political system. His prolonged imprisonment, especially given that he was initially detained on a civil offense rather than a criminal conviction, has led many to question the fairness and transparency of the system. The government's decision to use civil proceedings rather than criminal charges to keep him detained has allowed them to sidestep normal legal processes and deny him the rights that would normally be afforded to a criminal defendant. This has created a significant imbalance, making Robinson's situation feel more like a political vendetta than a legal matter. The public backlash against Robinson's treatment has only intensified, as more people recognize that the case represents a broader issue about the erosion of civil liberties in the UK. Human rights advocates have spoken out, warning that the use of solitary confinement as a political tool sets a dangerous precedent for the future. It not only punishes Robinson personally, but also sends a message that dissenting voices will be silenced through whatever means necessary, including through the manipulation of the legal system. The situation has triggered a wider debate about the role of the state in regulating free speech, with many arguing that the government's actions in Robinson's case represent an abuse of power. This debate is especially poignant given the UK's long-standing commitment to the principles of democracy, transparency, and freedom of expression. If Robinson's case is allowed to stand, it could set a dangerous precedent for future cases, where political figures or activists may be targeted for simply speaking out against the government. As the case continues to unfold, the question remains whether the UK will uphold its democratic values, or whether political power will continue to manipulate the justice system to stifle free speech and silence criticism. The implications of this case go far beyond Robinson himself and could impact the way the UK treats dissenters for years to come. The fallout from Tommy Robinson's case extends far beyond his personal struggles, shedding light on the wider political implications for freedom of expression in the UK. The state's use of legal power to silence individuals who challenge the establishment has sparked a fierce debate about the balance between national security and personal liberties. Critics argue that Robinson's prolonged detention under the guise of civil offences reflects a disturbing trend of political manipulation. Instead of being treated as a criminal under standard procedures, Robinson's case was handled through civil channels, circumventing the usual legal protections. This manipulation raises serious concerns about the fairness of the justice system and whether it is being used as a tool to suppress dissent. The lack of transparency surrounding his imprisonment only intensifies public unease, with many questioning whether the UK's once proud commitment to justice and free speech is eroding. In the wake of the controversy, there are growing calls for a full investigation into the actions of the government and its involvement in Robinson's case. For many, this is no longer just about one man's legal battle, but a defining moment for civil rights in the UK. As protests and debates continue to unfold, Robinson's case is increasingly viewed as a test of the nation's commitment to democracy. Will the UK protect the right to free speech even when it challenges the government? Or will the case set a dangerous precedent, where political figures use legal processes to silence critics? The outcome of Robinson's appeal may have far-reaching consequences, determining the future of political dissent in the UK for years to come. See you later.